I really want to be proud of my age group. Come on, guys.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. How's the Josh?
Fine, sir.
Good. I think we need to start with that. It's an absolute delight to be here amongst you all. Am I still audible? Yeah. I'm always very enthused when I speak to the youth of our country. You are going to drive the growth story of India. You want to take the country forward. You want to take the world forward. Whichever walk of life you are in. And that's how you can serve the country. I am a career soldier, retired last year. I was Chief of Integrated Defence Staff, and quite a mouthful of a long name that she read out, this young lady. I was also the co-commander, as some of you would know, in Kashmir when we did the surgical strikes, Buranwani. I will limit my interaction to about 30 minutes or less, or 30 minutes, and then I'd like to take on questions. Any questions on Kashmir, on soldiering, on the Chief of Defence Staff who's been appointed, anything at all, subject to your time. I am told that you, am I audible? I get a feeling.
Sir, I think we should use that.
I just can't stand pegged to a
Give a high hand mic, guys, if you have.
Is it a hand mic better? I don't know. Anyway, so yeah. I'm right, isn't it? I'm losing the volume.
Yes, you would.
Hello? Is this better?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I gather that here it is predominantly management students, right?
Yes,
There is a BTech course and there is a hotel management and some of the students maybe from those faculties as well. You would all know that management especially draws a lot from the military, right? Your terminologies, your subjects, a word called strategy, boardroom strategy, leadership. And even if you're an engineering student or hotel management, eventually you're going to land up in some way or the other, most of you will be with the corporate world, right?
Yes.
Military and the corporate world, both are essentially geared to meet organizational goals. Do you agree there?
Yes.
We are trying to meet organizational goals by better team building. So team building would necessarily involve leadership. It would involve the leadership motivating the front line to produce better results, whatever is their field. Imagine. You imagine my plight. My front line consists of soldiers who have to be motivated enough to give up their own lives, to risk their lives, not productivity, not targets, not timelines, but their very own existence. Or worse, a soldier could be wounded and crippled for life. That's a very bad life. Yet, soldiering is a very honorable profession, and we have many volunteers for it. Why? Imagine on a snow-covered glacial mountain where icy winds are picking up a snowstorm at an altitude of 21,000 feet. We reach our objective, which is an enemy post. The temperature is minus 30 degrees. Human beings are short of breath because of lack of oxygen, and we reach our objective after a long, arduous and a risky march. Arduous because of the temperature, the glacial snow. Risky because enemy firing, an enemy bullet can get soldiers anytime. And when we reach our objective, it is now that one asks for volunteers to lead the attack. While all soldiers know that Everyone is equally at a risk to take a direct bullet hit of the enemy. But of the front three soldiers in the lead, the chances of blowing up a foot on a mine in the minefield are very high, nearly certain. Also, the risk of taking a direct enemy bullet is very high amongst the front lot. Yet, ladies and gentlemen, yet we always have more volunteers than we need for any operation. Why? Why does a soldier want to put himself in the harm's way? Why does a soldier really want to risk his life? I want some answers. What do you think it is? Is it salary?
No.
I'm glad to see everyone saying that. Perks, privileges,
No. Love for the nation.
patriotism,
Love for the nation.
love for the nation. Okay. What else? What else do you think it is? Anyone? Anyone?
Self-motivation to lead.
Motivation. Very good. Motivation. What brings about motivation?
Confidence.
Sorry? Spirit?
Spirit.
Confidence. The team spirit. If you have a team, then you have to have a leader. Leadership. Okay, let me just talk around these things. Let me try and demystify a soldier's bravery. A soldier, in the army, we have a great system of regimentation, a sense of belonging. We cultivate team spirit. We cultivate camaraderie and we nurture it. A soldier will go to great lengths to see whether it's a football match or a rifle firing competition, he will go to great lengths to see his team, his unit, his battalion, his company win. No sportsman spirit there. We just want to win. Why? Why is winning so important for us? Because in my business, there are no runners up. Those who don't win often end up dead. And when it comes to wars and battles and encounters with terrorists, we look up to the rich traditions and history of our battalion, of our regiment. We look up to those. For example, I'll take the example of my own battalion to explain what I'm saying. I am from 8th Battalion, the Jammu and Kashmir Light Infantry, JAPI for short. My battalion was raised as a volunteer force in 1947-48 operations in J&K. In 1971, my battalion held on tenaciously to a strip of land in Cham, where we faced reverses. A lot of army units pulled back. But my battalion today held on to a piece of land which is our launch pad west of River Munawwar, across the LC. We got 2 battle honors. Battle honors are honors given by President of India to battalions or units that excel in battle, and several other awards. In 1987, our battalion captured the highest battlefield in the world at 21,153 feet. Did you just hear that? 21,000. Another 8,000 and you are at Everest, my friends. So that situation that I was painting to you earlier is not fictitious. Our battalion captured the highest post in the world called Bana Top. Bana Singh got Paramveer Chakra, we got a Mahavir Chakra, a host of other awards. In 2001, that is 98 to 2001, for 3 years our battalion set a record of elimination of terrorists in J&K on the line of control, 106 to our credit in those 3 years. I was the commanding officer then. Our battalion then went to Sudan. Our battalion served under the UN for 1 year, then our battalion came into the line of control again in North Kashmir. We got another Ashok Chakra. When you have one Paramveer Chakra, one Ashok Chakra, you get a very unique or a rare title called Bravest of the Brave. The President awards that name. My battalion has that. My battalion served in the Rashtrapati Bhavan for 3 years as President's Guards, and now is back on the line of control. My soldiers, we all take so much pride in that one battalion, and that is just one battalion. We have 400 and more And then there are so many other types of artillery, armored corps units, etc. So that is the kind of pride that we take in our battalions. So every soldier does actually fight for that name of the unit. We call it Paltan ki Izzat, for the flag of the regiment. You don't want to let down your earlier generations of the same battalion. Today, if I go back to my unit, my Jawan, who has no linkage with me, he joined the unit much later, but he has a lien on me. That is the kind of bonding and spirit we have, my friends. That is what makes us do better and better. So remember, in the corporate world also, maybe you should not underestimate the value of company traditions of awarding and rewarding, awards and incentives. There is a lot to work around these things. Sometimes we tend to ignore these issues. Let me come to, let's talk about leadership. In the army, the first test of real independent leadership comes when you command a battalion. A battalion is a little less than 1,000 men, and a colonel commands a battalion. I commanded my battalion in 1998, onwards I started. We had just moved from Andamans, Port Blair, to the line of control in J&K. It was thick of militancy those days, much more activities than nowadays. Our battalions, we normally, in the army, we go, we have 3 years in peace, as we call it, so we train in some places, Jalandhar, Meerut, Bhatinda, Port Blair, and then we go on to the field area of northeast or J&K for 3 years. So, we had just moved from Port Blair to the line of control in J&K, and I took over the reins of the battalion. I became the commanding officer with the promotion to the rank of colonel, and and that's the ultimate test of a soldier's aspiration, an infantryman's aspiration to command his own battalion, and that to command it in active operational areas. As I took over, within the first week, we had our first encounter with terrorists, and I lost an officer. Well, for my battalion, it was the morale was lowered. It was a shattering moment. We all felt very down. Even I couldn't sleep that night. But then, somewhere late in the night or early hours of morning, I thought to myself that, these boys, my soldiers, are looking up to me for leadership. So next morning, I actually collected my thoughts first, and I collected my soldiers, and then I spoke to them. And this is what I said to them. I said, yesterday we lost a brave major who took a bullet in his chest while leading from the front. Today, as we mourn his loss, what is the best way to pay homage to such a soldier, to such a hero? It is because of him that the terrorists did not get away. It is because of him he saved several lives of our soldiers and several civilians. And in the process, he made the supreme sacrifice. So how do we pay homage to such a hero? We pay homage to a hero like that by making sure that we carry forward his task. We ensure that no terrorist remains in our area of responsibility. Our battalion has such a rich history of valor. Look at what you all did at Siachen 10 years ago. And then I spoke about that highest attack in the world. And there also, our first casualty, our first operational casualty was an officer. And look how we covered ourselves up in glory after that. We are going to do just that over here also. No, that was early times. Little did I know that my words would prove to be prophetic over the next 3 years. Our battalion did so well in the next 3 years that it set a record in Northern Command. Looking back, I see more clearly now as to how we did what we did. In the next encounter with terrorists, which was within 10 days or 2 weeks from then, I did not wear a bulletproof jacket. It's against the orders. I was acting braver than I felt. I did not wear a bulletproof jacket and I was leading from the front. Seeing the commanding officer, well, there are so many young officers who would lead, but seeing the commanding officer going right in the front without wearing a bulletproof jacket, risking his life, I saw a very different energy in my troops. Everyone wanted to be there. Everyone wanted to get ahead and not hold back. Some of them told me later they want to make sure that I don't come to harm and they want to be ahead of me. Whichever way it worked. But then on, there was no stopping them. For the next 3 years, I only had to actually rein in their bravery, their audacity, their courage and guts. And that is what led to a very record operational tenure that we had over there. Of course, I had to continue to not keep wearing the bulletproof jacket. So, what is the lesson over here? When you lead from the front, it always motivates your team to do better. When you get down with them to start working, they will not shy away from work. Rather than you sit behind and give instructions to continue with the work. Sometimes even if it's for demonstrative effect, if you go along with your team, you will be able to improve your productivity and better outcomes. You will be there to see. Also, it is when your subordinates see through your intentions, they are obviously much more perceptive than you think they are. I did not wear a bulletproof jacket. It's against the orders. I don't allow anyone to go without a bulletproof jacket, but I did do it. But they understand the reason why I was following orders, instructions and SOPs. There was a purpose. Purpose was fulfilled. And I was only risking my life, not somebody else's. So everyone sees through that. So it is always, they will always give their best if they see through the leader's intentions. Just like it is very, I'm sure it's very demoralizing for someone to work for a boss who's less than enthusiastic about his own work. Right. The next thing, as a commanding officer, there itself on the line of control, we had, okay, what's a line of control? You heard of LOC, isn't it?
Yes.
There is an international border that we have with Myanmar, Bangladesh, other countries, and there is a line of control. A line of control is slightly different from a border, that it is not ratified by both parliaments, it is not yet fully resolved. There are claims and counterclaims in different parts of the territory. So we call it line of control. That means you actually have to sit there. In an international border, you don't really have to man it, except for smuggling and other kind of things that you need to stop. Here is a question of safeguarding the territorial integrity of our country as well. So in mountainous regions of J&K, the line of control is a group. You actually sit down and deploy positions, and it's very tough country. It's all mountains starting from 5,000 feet to 21,000 feet. Snow covered, forested, rivers and ravines. So it's tough living there, especially in winters. Even in summers. In summers, the temperature are in freezing temperatures or minus temperatures at Siachen Glacier. So in such a condition, what happens is a line of control, you hold posts are dominating mountain peaks, a group of bunkers. Bunkers are emplacements which give you some protection against weather and enemy firing, and then you hold that area, literally sit there every day and do patrolling, ambushes, make sure that they don't come inside. So similarly, but there are gaps between them. There are rivers and nalas. There's too huge of frontage, you cannot sit on every inch of land. So you sit on posts, which is a group of bunkers, and do the patrolling in between. Now, a battalion has companies, a company has platoons. So instead of conforming to the normal organization that we have, I tweaked the organization of my companies and platoons. We put the more experienced guys on the post who have experience of having done a thing like that in the prior tenure, and we got the younger lot, less than 5 years service, youngsters, led by young officers to do the patrolling in between. I tweaked the organization because they require to be more energetic, and a little more senior lot, also who were 30 plus, were at the post. What does it do? So it is those guys, the young lot, who are full of energy, brimming with it. They are the ones who went and got us the 106. So what did we do? Instead of sticking to an organization that we're supposed to, we tweaked the organization a bit and placed best man for the job at the right place. And I'm sure you'll agree, assigning of responsibilities for keeping the right man at the right place at the right time is better for better outcomes anywhere. It would be in corporate world, in a hospital, in a hotel, everywhere. That if you can get the best man for the job at the right place, it will lead to better outcomes and for better team building. I suppose that goes good for all of us. And next, let me take one more thing to talk about and then I'll take your questions. Trust is a big thing between leaders and the led. Sometimes, as it will happen, things will go wrong. When things go wrong, sometimes it is for the leaders to take it on the chin for his subordinates. You should be able to stand up for him. You should be able to support them. You never kick a man when he's down. Do you all remember Uri?
Yes.
It's not only a movie. Movie is different. When I tell you about Uri, this word Uri, what does it remind you of? Also that movie? For me, it reminds me of Surgical Strike. For me, Uri reminds me of a dark Sunday. 18th of September 2016, I was woken up by a phone call. 4 suicide terrorists had gotten into an army camp near the line of control at Uri, and we lost 18 soldiers. 18 young lives. We lost one more in hospital after a couple of days. 19 lives lost, young lives. It happened on my watch. I was a co-commander. You can imagine how I would have felt that day. I went to Uri, I took a chopper, went to Uri. It was not for witch hunting. I went there to support them. The firing had stopped, but fires were still raging. When you see so much death and mayhem, it's not easy. And I got a call from the defense secretary that the defense minister is coming to Srinagar, he wants to go to Uri. I said, why now? Why today? So much is happening, this is not the right time. The army chief was already on his way. Anyway, the defense minister did come, he wanted to go to Uri. I refused, we can't go to Uri, it's not safe. So we brought him to my operations room at my cantonment, the Dami Bagh camp, and briefed him. You know, it was such a black day for me, a veritable tragedy, losing so many young lives. The whole country was incensed. The whole nation was angry at Pakistan-sponsored terrorism. My soldiers wanted revenge. The leadership was agitated. We decided to turn this pain into an opportunity. We got clearances when he was there, the defense minister was there. We got clearances for what we did, and then the surgical strikes happened. Within 10 days, surgical strikes happen. And if you look back now, maybe that's the first of the strong steps which has changed the way India reacts to such situations. Thereafter, 3 years later, it was Balakot and a few other such bold steps. So all failures need not necessarily be seen only as failures. There are hidden opportunities in every failure. Only you must have it within you and motivate your team to look for those opportunities. Have it within you to pick yourself up when you're down again and again, and you will be able to overcome. I think I'll stop here. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I am open to questions. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone? Yeah.
So recently we have seen that the government of India has divided the state of Jammu and Kashmir into two parts. And my question is how this is beneficial for military? Is it really going to stop all the militancy and all the infiltration that are happening from the Pakistan side in the Jammu Kashmir region? Is it beneficial for?
Okay. So your question is that this dividing of J&K state into two union territories, how is it beneficial for military in terms of the infiltration, etc.?
Is it going to help you to stop the radicalization and all this happening in the Jammu and Kashmir region?
Right. So, firstly, this step that this is the political or the administrative government step of dividing the state into two union territories has nothing to do with the military. It's a government decision, a political step. But yes, it will have some impact on us because when now the government of the union territory, I'll not talk about Ladakh, let me talk of J&K. The government today is a union territory, and the government has a lieutenant governor. Soon we will have elected representatives. But as of today, now there is no political party in power in J&K. Unlike earlier, when there was sometime it was NC, sometime it was PDP, sometime it was these parties in coalition with others, or sometimes it was Congress. So it was seen that over the last 70 years, there were, because of that Article 370, perhaps there were some things that were not done well over the 70 years. So government has taken this step. Again, I repeat, nothing to do with the military. But because of that mismanagement, and there had been a lot of linkages with Pakistan, with ISI, with terrorists being pushed across. So to that extent, when those linkages will not be there, or we'll be able to get a better handle on those linkages because there won't be any political interference. So to that extent, it will be easier for us to take strong steps at the line of control to stop infiltration and in the hinterland to control violence perpetrated by the militants. The result is there for you to see. Since August to now, we've had no incidents where somebody has actually come to harm or casualties have been caused because of military action. Terrorists have done something where army was not involved or the police was not involved, but there have been no actions where there have been any civilian collateral casualties. Yeah.
What is the possible solution for India and Pakistan tension? Is it politics or war? Or should we go ahead with some international platform, increasing our influence? So what is the possible?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Sir,
between India and Pakistan?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it war or politics?
Is
What
it
is
war?
the possible solution to reduce the tension between India and Pakistan?
That's That's a question. Deniability that they keep saying, no, this is your own issue in Kashmir. So this issue will continue. But like you said in the previous question, I answered that it will be a little easier for the military than before to control this menace. So to that extent, even if it cannot vanish 100%, but we will be able to bring it down to a very manageable threshold. So to that extent, now as regards better relations between India and Pakistan, we've always seen highs and lows. It will continue like that. There will be highs and lows always. Whether we can actually just resolve our differences and be very friendly neighbors, I don't know if that's. I'm an optimist, but I don't know if that's going to happen anytime so soon. Let's all hope for better things. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening us. I would now request Colonel Sudhir Raje to felicitate both our guests. Thank you so much, sir. Students, we have break for 5 to 10 minutes. Please be seated, everybody. Thank you.
How is it a break? Then how is it a break?
Because if you go, they'll go.